Development section of Longford County Council. Submit.com is the company that set up the online Community Activities Fund grant application for us. And this evening, Neil O'Driscoll, the Chief Operating Officer with Submit.com, will take you through the steps to follow to create an online account and complete an online application form. So if any of you have any technical questions, we have asked you to be placed on mute. If you have any questions, if you could please enter them into the chat facility, and Neil will address them at the end of his presentation. Also, this technical support information session will be recorded, and we hope to upload it to our webpage later on in the week. Just on the Community Activities Fund itself, I would like to remind you that the online application form must be completed by the chairperson, the secretary or treasurer of your community group. You are advised to read the application guidelines and the terms and conditions before you complete the application form. We recommend that you start your application as soon as possible, and that's just to familiarise yourself to see what it's all about. The questions are the same as previous hard copy grant application forms, so those who have been through the process before will know what they're doing. And for any of those of you that are new, you can contact us in the office and we'll talk through or answer any queries that you may have. Before you start, your community group will need the following information to complete your online application form. You'll need your tax reference number, which is the TRN. For those of you who've been paid grant aid by Longford County Council in the past, you should already have that. And if you need one, the link to the form is available on our website and at the relevant question in the online form. Secondly, you'll need your XY ITM coordinates. There's a department simple guideline as to how to get these on our web page as well. And there's a link to it on our online application form. And thirdly, you will need to upload 3 separate quotations from all the requirements. Okay. So what we'll do now is I will hand you over to Neil. As I said, he works with the company that has set up the application form. And as I said or explained, if you have any questions, just type them into the chat. Neil will deal with them at the end. And I'll hand you over to Neil now. Okay, thank you.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see a big crowd in. I'm going to go through the process from start to finish, starting on the Langford website. And I'll send the link to that landing page in the chat now. And I'll guide you through the process right to the end of the application. Some of you will have to be patient with me. It's not a complicated process, but I know there's people of different IT abilities, we'll say here. So I'm going to be, for some of you, some of it might be too simplistic, and others, it might be useful. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to start on the page on the website. Can you all see that? You're all on mute. Yeah, just in case, thanks. So I've sent the link to this page on the Longford County Council website to the chat. All the information, the background information is all here. All the information, all the downloads of terms and conditions and so on are all available here. And if you scroll, so you can download the TRN registration form, the simple guide for getting your ITM coordinates. That's a location format that you need to do, but I'll show you a simple way of doing it. The guidelines and the terms and conditions. So as Linda said, you're all advised to read those before you start. And then this link here will bring you to the submit.com platform, which is where the application form is hosted. Okay, so it brings you to a page like this. Again, there's a summarized bit of background here. I know Linda has said it already, but the form can only be completed by the group secretary, treasurer or chairperson. And there's contact details here as well with any queries, phone numbers and an email address. Okay. So when you get to this page, you'll click on apply. You'll create an account. So everybody here, it will be your first time applying online for the CAF, so you'll create a new account. Use a real account, but don't give me any money, anyone. First name and last name. And then you create a password for yourself. Okay, so when you register, the first thing that you'll have to do will be agree with the Langford County Council privacy statement. So there's a summary here with a link to it if you want to follow it and get the detail of how your data will be processed. And then there's an acceptable use agreement. So feel free to read that, but you can't proceed without accepting both of those. When you accept it, you're into the application form. Now, the layout of the application form is one question per page, and there's a navigation pane down the right-hand side. So you can jump around forwards and scan through the form here by clicking on the question numbers on the right-hand side. We'll go back up to the top. And each question, most questions on the form are required. Now, that means that you can't convert your application from a draft into a complete application without answering the required questions. But you can save a draft at any time. So if I was to put in my group name, apologies if I'm sure there is probably a Langford County Council question here. Click enter or click next and you go to the next question. I'm not going to obviously answer every question on this, but there's a few questions I'll highlight to you. So I can save a draft at any point. I can click on save. I'll get an email to my inbox now saying you have saved a draft. Click here to continue, and that will bring you to the landing page for the form. So I'm going to, and you can click, you can sign in and continue your application form. Okay, every time you click next, it has been saved, so there's no risk of losing anything. Okay, some of the questions that I'll highlight, I won't answer the entire thing because if you have any questions on it, you can come back to me. But you don't want to be watching my bad typing all evening. But I'll just highlight a couple of questions. Question 18, first of all. So there's question 17 here. It says, have you received funding under any capital grant scheme since 2018? It's a yes/no question. If I say yes to that, or the next question, excuse me, question 16 or 17. If you answer yes to either of those, you must answer question 18. Now, it's not marked as a required question, but if you answer yes to question 16 or 17, you must fill out this table, giving a history of previous funding, both from Longford County Council, which question 16 references, and any other capital grants. Okay, so if I say yes, I'll have to write in, it might be I'll go CAF. Each bit of funding you got, you fill out a row of that table. Then you literally work your way through the form. Some of them are text questions, some of them are yes/nos. Where a question is required, you'll see a little badge underneath it saying it's required. And I'll just flick through them to question 26, I think, is the next possible hurdle that people might encounter. And question 26 is asking you for the exact location of where the project will be based. Now I'm going to get out of my full screen here. There's two links here. There's a simple guide which gives you a PDF with instructions. You can read that in your own time, because I think tonight would be more beneficial if I click on the second link, which brings you straight to where you get your ITM coordinates. So if you click on that, it opens up a map. Okay, and you zoom in wherever you are. I'll keep it away from Longford and go to some other corner in case I land on one of your houses. Zoom in, find your location, right click on the location. And now there's various types of grid references here, and it's the ITM that you want. The 6-digit code, that's the X coordinate of your ITM. I'll copy that to my question on submit.com and paste it in. That's not, sorry, I have to remember it. 495150. 495150 is my X coordinate. And my Y coordinate of my ITM is 638918. And you'll notice just these green badges are just forcing you to put in 6 digits of an X coordinate and 6 digits of a right coordinate, putting a lower limit and an upper limit on the number. Okay, so that's that one. Question 34 is another one that just is slightly unusual. I'll go down to 34. And the only reason it's slightly unusual is that a lot of you won't need to fill it out. It is compulsory for people who are applying for greater than €1,000, but for people who are applying for less than €1,000, you don't need to fill this out. And again, there's a link embedded here to the LECP goals and the LEC plan on the Longford website. Now, if I go right through to the end of this and I try to submit it, it will bounce back to the first required question that I didn't answer. Click submit, it bounces back. I never gave an error code. Okay. Bounce back to when you type in the error code, you'll get a little type ahead prompt here. Click on that. And it gives you kind of a combination of the address and the error code, which Langford can use to draw a map of the locations. Okay, now I'm not going to answer every required question, so I'm going to save and quit. And again, I have got another email saying you have saved a draft. To continue your application, click on the button below. So it's easy to find your way back to here. Now, some of you might have more than one organization. A lot of community people are involved in multiple organizations, and there's nothing stopping you doing a second application for a second organization. Okay, it's one application per organization, but you can do 2 if you're representing a second organization. And to do that, you click New. And the second one might be name of group. Okay, I'll save that. And the only reason I'm saving that is I'm going to show you what it looks like when I have 2 drafts on the go. It tells you here which one is which. It pulls the name of your group above the continue button. Okay. Now, I suppose the next thing I'll do is show you the signature. I'm going to continue this application. One of the reasons that it has to be completed by chairperson, secretary, or treasurer is that it needs to be signed by the person completing the form. And the last question on the form is the declaration. And you're signing for all of that content. You just type your name. My own name, but we won't worry about that. And when you click on submit, it will send a link to your email, and that basically validates that you are who you say you are. So the email address you used to register will receive a link asking you to validate the signature. Now, it's not going to let me submit it again because I haven't answered all the required questions. It'll bounce back and won't send the link. It won't send the link unless it's actually converting it from a draft application to a complete application. Okay. I have 2 more things that I'll go through with you because, again, I don't want to teach you all how to suck eggs. It's reasonably straightforward, but a lot of you might want to download a printed version of your form. And to do that is not very intuitive. If I want to download my Longford Tidy Towns application, I click on the 3 dots beside it. And this will be the same if it's a draft or if it's a complete application. With the 3 dots, your applications are listed on the right, and these 3 dots will be visible. And you click View, and that brings an online view of your application up here. And then you can click Options and Download. Okay, and that downloads. You just click the blue button, and it will download your application as a PDF. Okay. Another thing that people might do is they might forget their password, which is obvious enough, but so I'll sign out and I'll pretend I'm on my landing page here. So the link that you click on in the email when you save a draft will bring you to this page. When you click on apply, it will ask you to log in. Okay, so you've already created an account, but if I can't remember my password, I can click on this button to reset it. Okay, and that button just brings you to a password reset page where you enter your email and you send yourself a link which you click on to create a new password. Okay, now I'm going to sign in as if I was the person who I just used. So I'm going to log into my account. When I sign in, it identifies me as the correct candidate, and it has my 2 draft applications ready to finish. That's pretty much as I'd like to say, because I could, if I went into any more detail, I think I'd be overcomplicating the flow. But so I'll stop sharing my screen for a second and see, are there any questions in the chat? How can I upload more than the maximum number of documents, 5, as I have all backup invoices, which is more than the max of 5? Okay, which question was that for? Because I can increase the limit of the uploads. If Sharon could reply, is it just the invoice upload question? Okay, while I'm waiting, so I'll answer Peggy's question easily. First of all, I couldn't see where those 3 dots were. So Peggy, when you're looking at your drafts, thanks Sharon, to the right of the name of your group, there's these 3 dots. Okay, 3 vertical dots. Click on those, and then click on View. Okay, and as Linda said at the top, this will be recorded anyway. So if you want to step over the steps slowly, you can.
Sorry, Neil.
Yeah.
It's Linda. Would you mind sharing the screen for Peggy there, that you could see where the 3 dots are? Thank you.
Apologies. Thanks. I'll go back. So when it's here on the page that you've got your drafts listed, to the right of the name of the group, there's 3 vertical dots here. Click on that, then click on View, and then if you can read it online, or you can click on Options and Download. And download PDF. Is that okay, Peggy? Apologies, I'd have to stop sharing again because I can't see the comments while I'm sharing. Okay, so Sharon, the invoice upload question. Can you make a note of that, Linda, while I'm talking? And I can increase the amount of uploads to up to 25. So I think, I presume 25 will be enough. I can do that this evening, so that it should be, if there's any question there that has a limit of 5, I'll increase it to 25.
Will that be sufficient, Sharon? Yeah, perfect. Thanks. See your answer. Yeah, 25 is fine.
Fine. So we'll say I'd make a star on my hand, and 5 minutes after this call ends, that will be changed. Okay. Peggy, are you okay as regards the 3 dots? And while I'm waiting for Peggy to confirm that, Annette has said, can you comment on the types of grants, e.g. does PPN funding need to be inserted or returned? Now that's a question for Longford County Council, not for me.
Sorry, Annette, this is Linda. I'll email you back tomorrow about that. It's just any funding that you've received from Longford County Council or any capital funds since 2018 from any department or LCDC or local authority, but I'll address that by email tomorrow, okay?
And I know that, but again, it's sometimes a risk of trying to explain relatively straightforward stuff in detail. It sounds like what I said was complicated, but if you go to the very top of the chat on this meeting, that link will bring you to the Longford County Council website. Scroll down, we'll go to that link again, just to recap on this, because a lot of it is fairly self-explanatory. To share my screen again, just to recap on that, because it's probably the most important piece of the day. So the link that's in the chat brings you to here. You read the detail, you scroll down, there's a blue box about 2/3 of the way down the page, and that brings you to this link here, complete the online CAF application form. Click on that, and you're up and running then. Okay, you won't be signed in, so you won't have anything to continue. You'll have an apply button on the right hand side, and it will ask you to create an account. And it should be fairly straightforward for you. I'll stop sharing again to see the chat. There was what's the maximum funding that can be requested? And again, that's above my pay grade, so that's something that...
Sorry, SEPTA, this is Linda here again from the council. There's no maximum limit. There 30% of the funding has been ring-fenced for grants of €1,000 or less. And if you'd like any further information, you can email us at lcdc@longfordcoco.ie and I can address that for you, or else give us a call. The next Neil then is Peggy Baxter. Does it include Tidy Towns grants to council? Peggy, it's any funding that was received from Longford County Council or any capital grants from any department, etc. And again, if you have any queries on that, if you could please email lcdc@longfordcoco.ie, or we'll be putting our telephone numbers up at the end of this technical support session, and you can give us a ring on that tomorrow as well. All right. Neil, just on, can I ask a question then on drafts so that it's clear to people when they're doing a draft application form, and if they pause and save it, do they receive an acknowledgement email just to let them know that they've gone that far in the process? Yeah. Or is it only when they have their form finalised and they click the submit button that they know then?
Yeah, no, if you click on save draft, and I'll show you the email that you get just to reassure you. I'll have to share my screen again. So the email is something like this. Okay, submit.com. The sender will be no-reply@submit.com. So just check your spam for the first one in case you don't see it coming in, and mark it as one of your contacts. Dear Neil, you have saved a draft application. To continue your application, click or tap on the button below. So you'll click on that and it will bring you to this landing page. Okay, so this is my application, and there's a continue button. Okay, and then into it. I'm obviously signed in already as a candidate here. Sometimes you'll click on continue and it will ask you for your email and password.
Okay, so I suppose what we would encourage is for community groups to set up their account and then to start their application form, even if it's only to enter in the name of their community group. And once they click save and quit down on the bottom right of their screen that Niall has uploaded there, you can work your way through the questions, see what's been asked of you and the type of information you need to get together. Anyone that's been through the process before, they're the exact same questions as would have been included on the hard copy application form. And for those of you that are new, please do contact us in the office if you have any difficulties, and we'll go through any queries with you. What we will say is that the deadline is 4 p.m. on February the 16th, and after that time the link will not be available to you, so we would encourage you to start your process as soon as possible. And if you're happy that you've answered all the questions fully and you're happy to sign the declaration, you've uploaded the required quotations, you can then submit, press the submit button at the end, and that's your application completed. And encourage you to do that sooner rather than later.
And just to let you know, on a technical level, what happens when the deadline passes? The continue button disappears, and the continue button disappears. And likewise, there'll be no apply button or new button. So you'll still be able to, the link will be taken down off the Langford website. You will still have a link in your email from when you saved the draft previously, but don't think you can cheat the system by clicking on that, because the buttons will have gone. Not that any of you would want to.
Sorry, Neil, Peggy has a query there about the signature. Would you mind explaining to get people again about the verification email for when they type in their signature, please? Yeah. Thank you.
So Peggy has said up to now she signed the application and scanned it and attached it to the application. That's not necessary anymore. So what you'll do is you'll click on continue. You'll go to when you're on the last question.
Sorry, Neil, can you share your screen again?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Use the Teams. So when you're in your application and you go to the last question in the declaration section, the signing only involves you typing your name here and assuming that you have every other required question answered. You'll go next and you'll click submit. When you do that, assuming that you have answered all your required questions, therefore it won't bounce back to questions that you need to answer that you've left blank. It will send a link to your email. Okay, and that's how you validate your signature. You click on the link and it's very simple. So as soon as you submit, go to the email address inbox that you registered with, make sure you look for the link that was sent to you, click on it, and that validates that you're not impersonating somebody else. that you are the owner of the email address. So that's your signature.